Good to be here with you. My heart is very full this morning. It's morning for me here in Bali. It's 8:30 in the morning. So let's get some logistics out of the way. Logistics are that if you're joining through YouTube or Facebook, you can chat in any questions, observations, shares, engagements. And if you are a member of the Oasis community, you are logged in then through a direct link that allows you to click a button that will request to be brought into the call live, and we can video chat and have a dialogue around your journey and what you're experiencing and any questions that you might have. And in order to do that as an Oasis member, you do need to be logged in through the provided link with the Chrome browser. And finally, if you're joining through YouTube or Facebook and you are so called to offer any donation to help support the offering of Satsang, then there is a donation link in the description. Welcome, my friends. Gary, good to see you. Mike, good to have you here. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of jumping around just to check comments on the different platforms. Okay. Okay. I think I've got things all pushed correctly. Mark, hello. Good to have you here, Mark. So, Satsang. Satsang is the opportunity to honor our devotions. Satsang is the opportunity to bring ourselves intentionally to this journey of conscious awakening. Satsang is the opportunity to explore with real presence and devotion and love the question, the inquiry, who are you really? What is the essential nature of your being, your very being, the essential nature, the unwavering truth, the thing that doesn't change? Who are we as human spiritual beings? And I'm honored to be here with you. And not as a teacher, although that is sometimes the title that is used. Not really here to teach anything as much as to confirm, as to help you confirm within you your essential nature, your divine truth, your highest consciousness of being, to help you confirm that within yourself. So, more of a guide. And as guides do, I guided adventure travel trips for 30 years or so. The idea of a guide is just anybody who's just been down the path a little bit further and can then turn back to those coming down that same path and say, let me help guide you. Let me help show you, guide you, how you might walk this path with more clarity, more successfully. How might you encounter the inevitable obstacles and understand them better so that you can work with them and find your way through them? So thank you for being on your path. I know of no greater or I want to say more satisfying. It's not quite the right word. Nourishing. I know of no more nourishing path than that which leads to knowing ourselves, the full dimensionality of ourselves as humans with an ego identity that is being used as a vehicle of learning and growth for a individuated soul, that is an individuated expression of the oneness that we all are. To know ourselves as the oneness, as the individuated soul expression, and as the body, mind, ego experience of this human journey. And to know all of it so that we don't get so lost in the ego story of self, which tends to veil, which does veil the knowing of our divine nature. So I invite any chats, communications, questions as we go. It's quite a thing to be exploring with self-inquiry this fundamental question: who am I really? And is this thing that I often feel I am, this character, these feelings, this construct of a self, that sometimes feels wonderful about myself and other times feels ashamed of myself and other times feels so depressed about myself and other times feels so alive about myself, and all that keeps changing. Is that ever-changing narrative, storyline, construct of thoughts and beliefs, is that who I really am? Or is that who my mind is telling me I am, and I've taken it for reality? Because this story of self, this mind-generated ego story of self, will end. And at that point, will you end? And if not, then is that true, essential, enduring you, does it go away during this lifetime? No, it's you. It's who you are. It's who you always have been and always will be. But typically, a human will go through an entire life and be so in the dream of self that they will never inquire wait a minute. Who am I really? What is the essential nature of my being? And even if they do ask, and even if they do start to pursue that path, to stay on the path with devotion and courage and care and discipline and love, that's quite a thing. So if you're here, perhaps you're on that path. Perhaps something in you is just saying, there's more. There's more to me. Beyond the illusions of this limited self, there is a vast nature of me, of I. And to know that, and to know it, and then to know it, and then to abide it, to allow it, to accept it with unwavering faith is freedom. So, what a beautiful thing to be on this journey with you. I'm honored. And I can tell you, having been really on a devoted path of knowing the full dimensionality of my being, that after, I don't know, 10, 15 years, I was just writing in my journal this morning, new levels of embodiment. New clarity. Stability. We can never truly grasp with our minds the true dimensionality of our being. Because that is a oneness of consciousness prior to individuation. But we will always know the individuated self. Our minds are simply built that way. They perceive in time and space. And those are constructs of a human experience. And as humans, to know anything, we have to have distance from it. In fact, anything that is known has to have subject-object, a something that recognizes and knows another thing. And so we allow for that. We recognize that our experience of the oneness will be a limited experience, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't keep unfolding throughout a lifetime. and revealing itself in new ways, in new direct experiences. A continuous burgeoning and blossoming of a love that is beyond our comprehension. And that's what we get to play with and be with and honor and appreciate in this precious human journey. Okay, I think this is from David. It says, I was in my head for a long time. 2024 was lost for me. And well, in a worldly sense, financially, I went backwards significantly. But it seems that, quote, headspace, trying to make sense of the past, was necessary. Maybe action is an expression of someone. Maybe action helps with headspace. Yeah, I mean, we take actions to know thyself. We are often brought to this path through desperation, which is so valuable because it finally says this yearning within you for peace, for grace, for love, for belonging. It's what you already are. It's the very nature of your divine being. But the wanting of that and the desire of that will create a great desperation that will lead us to action. Actions of devotion, of practice, of patience, study, satsang. And it's important to remember that all of these actions are mere pointers to the truth of our being. There is no truth in the actions. There's no truth in any teaching. The teaching will simply point you to the truth that you are. I want to say the truth within you, because that's how we often speak about it. But it's the truth within which you are. Actually, the truth isn't within you. This human experience is unfolding within the truth of you, the boundless, transcendent truth of you. So it's important to remember that our actions point us to the truth, but to abide that truth, that's a key. To at some point make the shift that says, wait a minute, I keep coming to the same truth. I am the stillness of being beyond all activity of mind. I am the stillness of awareness within which all activity of this human experience comes and goes, arises and passes, is born and dies. I am not the transient activity. I am the stillness of awareness, at peace with all of it. And at some point, when we keep coming to that truth again and again and again, and even though the ego argues and says, yeah, but, no, that can't be, yeah, but, at some point, we just recognize that's the truth of my being. And I'm going to live as if that's true. And no longer give such worth or value or belief to the dream of self that keeps arguing for its validity. And so the actions point us to activities of inquiry, self-inquiry, meditation, study, that keep revealing that essential truth. Initially as a spark, and then as a little bit of an enduring ember, and then a more consistent flame over the years. But remember, the action itself is the pointer to the truth. And once you abide the truth, the action is merely a tool that you use. And I mention this because I encounter quite a bit those who are stuck in their practice. I only find peace when I'm doing this particular mantra. I only find peace when I'm deep in a traditional meditation. The beauty is when you abide the truth of who you are, you can be going through your day at the grocery store. And there's an awakened knowing that used to be maybe in the background of all your experience, but it starts to become merged with all of your experience, so that you're having the human experience completely rested in the grace of unwavering awareness. You don't just find it in your practices any longer. It is awake and alive and vibrant and ordinary. I was writing in my journal this morning that I'm so in love. And it's the most ordinary thing. It's not giddy, it's not ecstatic, it's not gleeful. It's not going through life going, oh my God, oh. I mean, there's moments of that, yeah. But just living life in love. And just having a life that is steeped in the truth of love. From David here. For sure, probably everyone here has heard how you do one thing is how you do everything. Whatever the action, it's the expression of the person, soul. Well, that's a really good point of inquiry, right? To look at our actions and ask, on whose behalf is this action being taken? So you can get tricky. Because a soul has desires, inclinations, natural inclinations. One soul is inclined toward a life of art. Another soul is inclined toward a life of mathematics. And so a soul will have inclinations and desires and motivations and natural tendencies to move in this direction or that. But that tends to be overshadowed by the ego's demands. The action that will get me loved, the action that will get me successful so that I can be loved, the action that will provide a sense of safety. And we're not just talking about the physical safety, because that's important in this human life, this mortal life. But we're just talking about the emotional safety, the sense of I'm okay because everything's in alignment and I've got all my needs met. I know a lot of people who are, millionaires, or one guy's a billionaire who still struggles with, am I safe? Am I okay? So actions we want to look at, and it's a beautiful inquiry to journal about, to sit with, on whose behalf am I motivated? Who am I feeding? With the action that I'm so often desperate to take right now, and afraid that what if it doesn't work out? Who is afraid? Who is desperate? Who is pushing and clinging and holding and resisting? Because the awareness of consciousness is always in a state of allowing. It's not even a state, it's just its nature. Allowing is not an activity of mind. True allowing is the very nature of our being. The sky allows whatever weather wants to move through and is never altered by it, or it's never not at peace. No matter what storm patterns or weather patterns are moving through, it doesn't cling to the cloudless nature of weather and say, good, this is what I like, it's got to stay this way. Oh no, a cloud's coming. Oh no, more clouds are coming. It's not resisting. It's not clinging. So we want to look at our actions. Are they a form of resistance or clinging or need in order to feel okay about ourselves? The movie screen does not resist any projection upon it. It witnesses all of them equally. So good. This is a good dialogue. Thank you, David, for your shares and your reflections. This is how we grow, we inquire, we consider, we marinate. We ponder the nature of reality. Okay, it's a message here. Derek, my energetic experience has been fluctuating so intensely as of late. The self tries to make sense of it. There's inquiry into why this is the state of experience. I love this. I hope you're still with us, Derek. This is good. The self tries to make sense of it. Let's look at what self we're talking about. He says, my energetic experience has been fluctuating so intensely as of late. experience. The experience has been fluctuating. Good. Good, Derek, good. The experience has been fluctuating. The experience is transient. The experience is coming and going. The fluctuation is coming and going within what? Awareness. I am the awareness within which the fluctuation is happening. I am the sky within which weather patterns come and go. The self, the true self, the I am, isn't trying to make sense of it, because the true self simply witnesses all of it. The true self already knows the truth. I am that beyond all definitions. Derek, there's a wonderful meditation. I've got it as part of my course, the Living Beyond the Noise course. And it's a meditation that takes you through all the different experiences of I am. We can do a little short version here. I am confused. Feel that experience. Imagine confused. Feel that experience. Go to the experience of confused. We can imagine it. We can play with it. We can feel maybe the constriction or the upheaval or the anxiousness around being confused. I am sad. Go to the experience of sad. You know sad, so play with it, experience it, bring it forward as an imagined state. Notice the shoulders might want to collapse in a little bit. You might kind of get a little bit small, insular. Now, the phrase, I am a man. I'm assuming, Derek, you're a man. And go to that experience. The experience of man. In today's society, in your world, in your life. And you'll notice the fluctuations. Am I a good man? Could I be a better man? What does it mean to be a man? What have I learned about that? Are those things true? This is a short little version. So now go to the phrase, I am. With no definition. No story. Not I am a son, I am a father, I am a partner, I am a success, I am a failure, I am good, I'm bad, I'm worthy, I'm unworthy. Just go to I am and stop. Before any definition gets heaped upon or put on as a character, as a costume, as a weight. I am. And go to that sensation. This is the most stable essence of our being. It is the shared I. Because anything that were to describe itself would start with the words, I am. The definition is transient, ever-changing, fluctuating. The I am is pure. The stillness in the background of all experience. I am, if you're going to define it, I am the stillness in the background of all experience. And even though it sounds like a paradox, I am the stillness within which fluctuating experiences occur. I am the stillness within which all fluctuations come and go. You are actually not your thoughts, not your beliefs, not your struggles, not your confusions. Those are part of your egoic and personal experience as a human. But that is happening within the presence of unwavering consciousness, awareness, the essential nature of your being. So try this, Derek. You can do this every time you sit in meditation. When you sit and you start and you go with your breath, you drop into your breath, and I've got meditative guidance in that course that I mentioned, the Living Beyond the Noise course. I also have a meditation toolkit course. You can check that out. But when you go to the breath, start with this knowing. As you sit, no matter what experience is currently happening within the body, mind, ego, story of self, situation, condition, no matter what is happening within the container, the vehicle, all of that is happening within the embrace of unwavering stillness of love. And I am that. I am not the transience. I am the unwavering stillness in the background of all experience. So I hope that's helpful. And you practice it again and again and again and again and again. And that's called waking up. And it takes a while. So the inquiry, you say, is into why is this the state of experience? There's a more powerful inquiry. What is aware of all experience? The why is an ego question. Consciousness wouldn't ask why. So the inquiry is, what is aware of the fluctuations of experience? And the fluctuations of experience are just like coming in and out of a dream. What is aware that you went to sleep? What is aware that you just woke up? What is aware that a dream occurred or is occurring? The movie screen aware of the movie. The sky aware of the weather. The consciousness of love aware of the fluctuating human experience. Non-duality. I am the awareness and the human experience. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Derek, for that inquiry, for that question. You're in Margaret. Oh, I hope you're still here. I'm jumping over to Facebook now. Oh, beautiful, my dear Margaret. Margaret Joy Weaver. Even before I read the comment, Margaret is an absolute champion of truth, an absolute divine, radiant devotee of grace and love and wholeness. So thank you, Margaret, for all that you do. Thank you for being here for all of us on our path. I feel you're knowing thyself. Such a key component in the journey for self-realization. Thank you. Yeah. I got to reply here real quick to Margaret. Okay. This is so fascinating. Oh, beautiful, Derek. Derek says, thank you. As I go to rest in I am, I do find contraction in the body. Perfect. And what is aware of the contraction in the body that is temporary? And if there's one that is concerned about contraction in the body, then what is aware of the concern about the contraction in the body? See, the mind makes up stories about all of this. This is good, this is bad, this is wanted, this is unwanted, this has to go away, this has to be more, this has to be less. Awareness isn't doing that dance. Awareness is just noticing all of it and knowing itself beyond all of it. And I'll take time with it. Yes, that's one of the key components of the Living Beyond the Noise course. It's called marinating. Inquire, marinate, practice, study, marinate, meditate, practice, study. It's foundational to know thyself. Because everything we experience is filtered through a sense of self, whether it be the illusion of a separate self with fear and doubt and uncertainty and stories about our worthiness or our value that we learned from society, from media, from mom, from dad, from schooling, from a deeply asleep culture. We filter everything through our sense of I am. Everything. So it's really, 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 really valuable to know who I am truly, so that life can come and be received by the grace of being, rather than being received by the conditioning and programming of fear and uncertainty and doubt and stories and opinions and judgments and beliefs. Yeah, look at it that way. It's like, wow, who's interpreting everything that I'm experiencing? Typically, it's our database of opinions, judgments, beliefs, stories, conditioning, programming. That's typically what's telling us how we should experience the moment. And we wonder why we suffer and struggle. When we awaken the grace of our being, the unwavering stillness of being, then moments happen and they are simply experienced. And we don't get lost in the experience. We allow the experience, but we don't get lost in it. And we can make choices and say yes and say no and set boundaries and take actions to create an experience that is more in alignment with our peace and our soul's inclinations. But we don't suffer until the changes are made. We don't suffer until the external world behaves. Because you may have noticed, it doesn't. Not always. And even when it does behave, then we're clinging to keeping it the way it is. And that clinging is another form of struggle. We're either seeking, and then we get it, and then we cling to it, and then we resist change, and we're resisting and clinging and seeking, and all of that is happening within the stillness of loving awareness that we are. Derek, I love your questions, Derek. Or is it my resistance to the contraction? Yeah, then there's that. Perfect, beautiful. Who's resisting the contraction? Why does a contraction need to be resisted? And the ego says, because until the contraction is gone, I am lost. Until the contraction is gone, I'm not free, I'm not at peace. But the stillness within which the contraction is happening is already at peace. The one who needs it to be different, to be at peace, is the one that believes that peace is only possible when all the conditions are just right. And that is a recipe for suffering. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, I'm kind of just looking around here. Different comments coming in different places. Here we go. All right. This is David again, I think. Peter Tosh, I am that I am. Yeah, Peter Tosh quoting God. I am that I am. If God were asked, God not being an individual, but just the godliness of consciousness. We call consciousness God. Consciousness, oneness, tell me about yourself. Oneness, tell me about yourself. In relation to what? I am. Yeah, but you are what? What do you mean what? That's because if I am this and I'm not that, or if I'm this, then am I this, and this, or am I this and that? Am I a combination of things? The oneness just is. I am. This is a beautiful analogy that I love from one of my teachers, Rupert Spira. Imagine a room. Maybe you're in a room right now, probably. And imagine asking that room to describe itself. And it would most likely describe its function. I am a bedroom, I am a living room, I am a kitchen. And I know that I'm a kitchen because look, there's a blender and there's a microwave. And I am a kitchen. But then if you said, no, don't describe the objects in the room because they can come and go. Objects can be brought in and moved and renovated. Tell me about the space. And the kitchen or the living room or the bedroom would say the space. Yeah, the space within which the furniture is presently occurring. And it might kind of start to talk about dimensions. Well, the space, I'm 20 feet by 15 feet by 8 feet tall. Yeah, that's what I am. I could be a bedroom, I could be a living room, I could be a kitchen, but I'm 20 feet by 15 feet by 8 feet tall. And then if you ask that space, okay, look out the window. Are you different than that space? Well, yes, that space is bigger. Okay, so you're being defined by the parameters of the walls, but your essence, space, room, the essence of you, is it different than the essence of the space just 5 inches outside that wall right there? And if these walls were dissolved, were dropped, would your essence be different? And the space would start to recognize, oh my God, whether the space is small or whether the dimensions, the parameters, the limitations are small or large or decorated this way or that way, the essential nature of the space is the same. We get lost in the limitation of our mind and our story and our character, and that is happening. But the essential consciousness within which this temporary experience is happening, the essential consciousness is the same, the oneness that is shared by all beings. In fact, by everything. And we will come to know that we set aside the egoic self as not really who we are, not to get rid of it because we can't, but we go to the vastness of being, to the boundlessness of being, to the formless nature of being. As we separate out from the individuality to the formless nature of being, long enough to come to rest as the formless consciousness, stillness of being, so that we can then merge back into the human experience and not get so lost in the human experience, but have the human experience as the stillness of being. But we got to separate out first. We got to get that distance, that sense of our boundlessness. And then we say, but how do I live as that? I am still a human. Yes, you are. But practice knowing that being, come to rest as that being, abide that true stillness of boundless consciousness, so that you can then bring it back into a harmonious union with the human experience. And if you're doing personal development work and childhood wound healing and trauma healing, to have that knowing of the boundless grace of being, the boundless love of being, allows you to do the healing with so much more effectiveness. Because when we say love yourself, love that child, love the wound, love the pain, love the hurt, that's what any hurt child wants, is love. To say love that, it's hard to say, I don't know how to love it. I feel I'm so identified with it. But if you can recognize yourself as the pure, boundless compassion of unwavering love that can love anything with no shame, to know yourself as that, you can then bring that to the wounding of the human experience and truly love what needs to be loved. David saying goodbye. I'm sorry if I need to say goodbye now. Thank you so much. I hope you're well, and other participants are too. Thank you, thank you, thank you, David. Thank you, brother. Thank you, my friend. We're all just walking each other home. We're all just walking each other home. All right. Let me jump over here. Okay. So, who are you, really? Our story of self is sometimes troubling, sometimes distressing, sometimes elevated and blissful. Typically, that is dependent on to what degree we are being successful or validated or received or seen or loved, to what degree we've gotten our lives in order so that we have the resources that we want and we can be proud of ourselves. That is all conditional love, conditional happiness. Who are you beyond the body, mind, ego experience? And what is the nature of that being? What is the nature of the I am before any condition or thought or belief or judgment or opinion or story or narrative or definition? And can you believe it? I'll take that back. It's not belief. It's an abidance. Can you abide the highest nature of your own being and allow that that's actually who you are? You are not who you think you are. And yet that is how most of us are living. We're believing our own story of self that's been created largely by an immature young mind trying to make sense of life's experiences with no knowledge of divinity. A young egoic, a young developing ego taking cues from mom and dad and stories and experiences, media. Who do I have to be acceptable, to be worthy, to be valid, to feel okay about myself? Is it okay if I fail at things? Well, depending on what you learn from mom and dad and school and media, you may feel like, yeah, no, it's okay to fail at things. Or you may feel like, no, as long as I'm failing at anything, I'm not worthy. And a lot of parents doing their best will teach the subtle teaching that says, the better you are at things, the more loved you will be. Get better grades, do better in school. And yeah, they're trying to help. Yeah, learn, grow, achieve. This is part of how we grow in the human experience. We try to get better at things. But the subtle teaching is often, and the better you get at them, the more you will be loved. So is that who you are? That storyline, that narrative, that programmed database of data points that tell you whether you're okay or not? To tell you whether you should feel shame or not? What if you could look at everything that's ever occurred in your life as a asleep human, as an ego-centered human, and have compassion? Well, no wonder I'm confused. No wonder I close my heart. No wonder I feel these fears and doubts or uncertainties. No wonder it's difficult for me to love. No wonder I struggle. No wonder. I mean, holy cow, look at what I was taught, even by the most loving of parents, trying to do their best. Most of society is asleep in their egoic dreams of self, trying to be loved, better, belong, acceptable, to win. So maybe we can have compassion for ourselves. And you can choose never to feel shame again for being a human, for being raised within a really typically profoundly asleep society. Krishnamurti said, it is no measure of one's well-being to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. It is no measure of one's well-being to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. We're on this path to wake up to what society largely ignores and is asleep to, and that is our divine nature. That we often call, that is often called in our society, in our cultures, woo-woo or woke or fantasy. We've got it all upside down. We live as the stories of self that are created by the collective dream, and we typically deny the most essential divine nature of our being, our truth. We deny our truth, and we believe our illusions. But not if you're on this path. On this path, you're starting to recognize, that's crazy. That's crazy. You jump over here. So, any other shares, reflections, questions, insights? You know, when you share, when you speak to your experience, that's a form of inquiry. You're exploring the edges of your consciousness, the edges of your awakening consciousness. And it takes a while to abide our truth. It's a path of mastery. Of learning, study, practice. And it's no different than studying a musical instrument or a sport. It just started pouring rain here. You can see it a little bit in the background here. The trees are starting to go. To stop believing our own mind is freedom. The mind's just running stories. The mind's just running narratives that it learned. It's making stuff up all the time. This means that. This means that. I should be insulted. I should be angry. We need the world to be a particular way. We need these people to behave in these particular ways in order to come back to peace. We're interpreting the world typically through our wounding, through our fears, through our very limited sense of self, the illusion of separation, forgetting our wholeness, forgetting our oneness. So, as I was saying to Derek, sit. And start with recognizing that no matter what is happening within this body, mind, ego, story, experience, that is all happening within the embrace of loving awareness that I am. I am that within which the human experience is occurring. My spirit doesn't live in me. I am occurring within spirit. And I'm more interested in the spirit of my being, the nature of that spirit, than I am with the transient experiences. I am more interested in the awareness than with all of the experiences within awareness. Just 51%. Just tip it over. Just be slightly more interested in the presence of the awareness, the unwavering stillness of being. Be slightly more interested in that than you are with the experience, the transience of experience that is coming and going within that unwavering stillness of being, that unwavering awareness, that unconditional loving awareness. Be more interested in that than getting lost in the experiences that are coming and going within that. If you're an Oasis member, I highly, highly, highly recommend, I encourage, I invite you to take yourself through the Living Beyond the Noise course. Give yourself 2 months of structured study. Two months that can change the rest of your life. And if you're not yet an Oasis member, then I invite you, follow the link below and look at the Living Beyond the Noise course. It's priced ridiculously low because it's my devotion to help make awakening affordable and accessible for all. All right, blessings, my friends. We got a storm. Yeah, it's a pretty heavy storm blowing in right now. Much love. Blessings. Thank you for attending to your grace, which is your truth. And we'll see you soon. All right, be well.